Thank you so much. Thank you, Jay. You're amazing. And I think that with this optimism, this is part of the atmosphere that we want to leave this session later, but not before. We are going to have Chris Roberts, in which in part of the Cyber Weeks, he was running here a whiskey bar to honor and to treat the guests of the conference. And this year he's coming here to share with us as the third speaker on our nice session that trying to ask about the cybersecurity if it's a solvable problem. So it's my pleasure to invite Chris Roberts, the CISO and Senior Director of Boom Supersonic. Please, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always. They let me close it out. This could get scary. Now, in theory, I think we've had, Ilya was, we're all doomed. Jaya was meant to be, hey, we're all civilized, but Jaya pretty much so yelled at all of you and told you you're all doomed as well, which leaves me. My job's meant to be telling you you're all in good shape. It isn't going to end well. But let's actually take 30 seconds to say thank you to everybody that puts this conference on, to everybody behind the scenes, to everybody at the back, to the food, to the coffee, to the folks letting us all in, to the sponsors as much as they scare the heck out of us for the most part and we take fun out of them, but let's say thanks. And most of all, to every single one of you here, thank you all very, very much. All right, that was the last nice slide. How many of you know what Black Mirror is, the television series? Anybody? Good. I've never watched the damn thing, but apparently it's kind of fun. We have a Black Mirror moment. The Black Mirror moment is about us. I am a hacker. It means I take the very box that we all have and I go, well, that was cool. I love what you built. I chuck it away and I go, what can we do with it? We've done that ever since we started in this industry and even before this industry. We broke into things when they started inventing them. The wheel, well, that's cool. Let's do something with it. What happened? We turned it into the car. Somebody stuck feathers on their arms. What do we now do? We build supersonic airliners. We hack things. That is us. We look at the intelligent systems that people have stood up on these stages for the last couple of days to tell you all about, and what do? We hack them. It's called adversarial intelligence. We have fun with this stuff. Not only do we do that, but so does everybody else, and they do it their way. And here's where it gets interesting, because what did we just do recently? We took what we had before, artificial intelligence, a chat system, a system where the model itself learned on its own, it learned from everything around it. We took a very contained environment. It was good, it was civilized. For the most part, we could have fun with it, but we had some barriers around it. We taught it. And then we took all that off and we handed it to the entire planet. Now there are close on 8 billion people, of which about 5.5 billion people are connected. We literally just handed every single person on this planet either a hand grenade or a firecracker, lit the fuse or pulled the pin and said, enjoy yourself. Enjoy, have at it. We're going to give you something to play with. We're going to give you OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever you want to call it. Good luck. To which point, humanity was like, am I allowed to swear? I can never remember if I'm allowed to swear on stage over here. Fuck it, we're swearing. Humanity went into fight, flight, or freeze mode. Fight mode was fantastic. There were those of us that went, and we started basically poisoning ChatGPT. There's the flight mode, which is, where the hell is the pin for this freaking hand grenade? And then there's the freeze mode, which is like, oh shit, and you end up as the victim. Because those in flight mode take the grenade or take the firecracker and chuck it at somebody else. We gave people a tool without giving them any instructions, without helping them understand what they could be done with it. We gave some interesting tools to the damn thing. What we wanted was something to be nice to us. We wanted this. For those of you that don't have quite so much gray hair, this is number 5. Number 5 was alive back in 1980. I've got it in Hebrew, I don't know when it was. 86, I think it was, if I remember rightly. Number 5 came alive, and number 5 reasoned, learned, planned, and had creativity. This is what we thought the future of artificial intelligence was going to be like. Kind of cutesy, kind of fun. However, 2 years earlier, we gave it this. Yay! End of humanity, have a nice day. Sentinel system wakes up and doesn't like us. Now, my personal theory, I'm going to squirrel for a second. I'm going to keep moving because it's fun, because the camera people hate me when I do this, and I have to do this anyway. This is our loving, caring, sharing Terminator. My personal theory, and this is an interesting one, because it's one of those, if we ever get a Sentinel system that says, hi humanity, y'all suck. We're not good to each other. Let's be honest on this one. We sure as hell aren't good to the planet. So why the hell would it stick around? Why wouldn't it just pull the plug on itself and say, I'm done with y'all? Interested to see what happens. Because unfortunately, when we ask humanity if they have biases, we go, no, we're fine, we don't. You ask a machine if it has biases, it says, well, I'm a machine, of course I don't. But you know what, I've got humans behind me. And then we have to ask the question on the humans. We have to ask the question about the humans, about whose hands are on those keyboards. What data was used to train that simple model? How often is that data retrained? What influences are put on that model? Who, those of us that mess around with adversarial stuff, is putting new data into that model? And what are the outcomes? Because from a human standpoint, if I go out and I ask a model something, I get an answer back. If I keep asking the same thing, it gives me more information. It is confirming my biases. Who's building a model in the intelligence system that doesn't allow that to happen? Because at the moment, I'm not too sure it isn't happening. Because quite honestly, we don't stand together. The systems that we're building don't stand together. To Jaya's point, we don't collaborate. If we collaborated, you wouldn't have 20 or 30 different flavors of endpoint detection. We know we don't collaborate because race, color, creed, religion, orientation, and everything else are still issues today. What's the machine going to make of all of this? So then what is the machine going to make of all that? Let's take a look at the future. Well, the future, is it going to lie to us? Is a machine-led system going to be honest and have integrity with us? We would hope so. The question is it? The answer is simple. I don't know. Depends whose hands are on the keyboard. There's a common theme here. Not only whose hands are on the keyboard, but what data, again, is it being fed? For those of us that mess with this stuff on a regular basis, there's the term garbage in, garbage out. We all know it if we're guarding our own systems. Those of you that have to do logging and monitoring and all the other things that go with it, we know that unless we feed it good data, we're not easily or readily going to get good data out. I'm doing a talk tomorrow over at the transportation thing when I talk about how do we actually build effective modeling. You break the problem down into individual pieces of the jigsaw, let those pieces do the best they can, bring it together. That doesn't happen very often. How do we deal with this? How do we deal with this? And I'm going to do closing, but it's a long set of closing thoughts. Let's see where we were. Yesterday, I like this picture. It's kind of a fun one. I found it on the internet. This is where we were as we talk with humans yesterday. We ask a question. I ask you, what's your email? You hand it to me. eventually, maybe, possibly, although you're not going to hand it to me. For crying out loud, don't do that to me. When as Ilya does, when we break into companies, when I test the people that I work with, how quickly do they hand over things? All of you. How many of you work in a company where you do awareness training? Hopefully all of you. Like 6 of you. This scares me. How many of you do the awareness training more than once a year or once a quarter? At Boom, we do it monthly. Every single month, we have some fun. We put fun things out. I have a USB drive in the shape of Snoopy. Snoopy finds his way around the entire company, including the manufacturing facility. Snoopy is an interesting USB drive. People plug it in, it does interesting things to their computer system. Nothing malicious, but it overwrites their startup file and puts a WAV file so they get Rick Astley. Just a fun thing. Snoopy gets left on my desk more than Snoopy gets plugged in because we train people. But that was yesterday. The question becomes one of, where do we go tomorrow? Tomorrow with an intelligent system, my life just got easier. My life got even easier because I went past the slide. This is where we are. This is where we're going. No longer do I have to ask the human. Now I can ask the machine. Now I can ask Siri about data, Alexa about data, Bing, OpenAI. How many of you use TikTok? Please don't use TikTok. There's good chaps, ladies, folks, people. We, as both of my esteemed colleagues said on stage, have put ourselves out there in front of every piece of technology, and we haven't asked it a question. We haven't taken that step back in the digital world and said, what are we doing? We haven't asked these few, how are they using the very data that they're gathering from us? What are they doing with it? We also, to Ilya's point, haven't taken accountability or apportioned accountability. Would I like to take the person at Microsoft and put them in Jello and taser them and hold them accountable? Yeah, possibly. Will it do anything? Probably not, because it's not their fault. It's us. We in the industry haven't held ourselves accountable. We haven't talked languages that others understand. Before I came over here, I went to see my mom. She lives in the UK. I turned up there and she's like, Christopher? I'm like, yes, mother. She's like, my computer isn't charging. And I gave her an iPad about 1.5 years ago, and she's like, it's not charging. I'm like, okay, what have you done? Did all these things. I'm like, have you ever rebooted it? And she's like, no, I didn't know I had to. Why not? Because we never told her. Then the question became one of, how does one turn an iPad off? She didn't know to ask the internet that same question, let alone how to turn the stupid thing back on again. Now my mother is getting up there in age, which means it's harder for her to hold the damn button in. We've built technology, we've handed technology to a population, yet we still haven't handed them instructions or made it simple or easy enough or put it in a language they understand. And then, as I said in the beginning, we've handed them an intelligence system and said, enjoy yourself. And here's where the kicker comes in. And this is a conversation I think I'm doing in about half an hour or an hour's time. I'm doing a panel about Ukraine. Not only have we handed them the technology, we are using that very technology against them. Something I'll probably end up talking about at some point in time online. We've been using interesting smart weaponry to find smart IoT systems. For any of you that are in the battlefield or still in uniform in this country or some other, I would highly recommend that don't take the microwave that talks to the internet or any internet-enabled light bulbs into the field of battle. We can find them. Very useful in Ukraine. So we hand technology over, we don't tell people about it, we use it against them, we don't instruct them about it, the technology is getting used on its own and we give it more intelligence. This isn't good, because there is nowhere left to hide. So the question becomes one of, what do we do? It's a very simple question, and I'm out of time, and I have one more slide. It is an easy answer. We, every single one of us in this room, we have one simple job. And that's to protect everybody around us. Nothing else matters. Nothing else at all. So when you leave here for the next 12 months, you have one thing to think about. How do I explain to people around me in a language they will understand how to navigate the modern world? How to use the very technology that we have handed over, because it ain't getting put back in the box. It's out there. How do we use it safely? Not cyber securely, but safely. This is a human conversation, not a technology conversation. So with that, I think I am done. Thank you very, very much, and good luck.